Hi, my name is Chef Mark Miller from Two Hats Ranch. I am the executive chef here, and today we're going to be making some venison jambalaya for you. This is actually a 3-meat jambalaya with some of our own jalapeno cheddar bratwurst and some andouille sausage and some Gulf shrimp that we're going to put in towards the end. So what we're doing right now is we're slicing up our sausage. We're going to go for about a 1/2-inch thick bias cut slice on our rope sausage, and then we'll start making the base on it. So this is the andouille sausage, and we're going to be taking a 1/2-inch slice roughly, and we're going to do it on a bias, which means we're going diagonally, so we're creating longer slices. I'm just going to go down and finish off this piece of sausage here. And now we're on to our jalapeno cheddar brats. You can see the pieces of the cheddar in there, and you can see some of the jalapeno in there as well, diced up. And once again, we're going to go on a bias, and about 1/2-inch thick. Now these sausages are not, they're smoked, but they're not pre-cooked. So we're going to be finishing them in the sauce to get the maximum amount of flavor out of them. So now that our meat is all prepped, we're going to start building our jambalaya base, and we're going to do that. We're going to start sweating some onions and celery and green pepper together in a brazier. And we're going to do that with just a little bit of canola oil just to keep it from sticking. Add our onion. And then we have some celery and green pepper. The ratio I have right now, I have 4 cups of onion and 2 cups of celery and 2 cups of green pepper, so it's 2 to 1 to 1. Okay, so we are getting a little bit of brown on our onion, celery, and green pepper, which means it's time to make our next addition here. So we're going to add 2 cups of dark roux to this. Now, roux is a fat such as butter, or you can use shortening or an oil. I use butter, mixed with an equal part by weight of flour. And then we put it into a pan and we let it cook for a while, and it turns different shades. You have a white roux, which is basically uncooked roux. There's a blonde roux, and then there's the dark roux. This is the dark roux. And the reason we do this is because the darker the roux, the nuttier the flavor that comes from it. And we want that extra flavor to be added to this jambalaya. So we're going to add that in, stir that in, and let that cook. And at the same time, we're going to add some minced garlic to the mix. I like garlic. I tend to overdo my garlic. Garlic is something that you add by feeling in your soul, not by volume. So I go a little heavy on the garlic. My wife tends to not like that very much, but so now we're just going to let that finish for a couple minutes. Let the roux cook in. Okay, our roux is nice and dark, and our vegetables are ready. So the next thing we're going to add in is 3 quarts of venison stock. Now the venison stock we did last week. We used the leg bones from the doe that we were taking last week, and did about a 2-day boil on those, and with vegetables, onion, celery, and carrot to add a little bit of extra flavor. And so that's what we're going to be adding in right now into the mix. Now the rule of roux is you always add cold to hot or hot to cold. So we have hot roux in the pan right now, so we're going to be adding cold stock to it, and you'll hear it sizzle as it hits. Oh, there we go. And then we want to give it a good, fairly brisk whisk to disperse that roux into the venison stock. And the reason that that you do cold to hot is because if you add hot to hot, the venison, the roux will cook into little balls in the stock, and you end up not thickening anything, but with little balls of dough in your stock, which is not a good thing. We're going to let this come up to a nice slow boil and let it slowly cook in for about 11 minutes. Roux takes 11 minutes to come up to its full thickness once you reach a boiling stage. So we're just going to let that come up and thicken up before we start adding the rest of our seasonings and our meat. Okay, we are starting to thicken up now. We've come up to a little simmer, and our base is starting to thicken. So the next thing we're going to add is bay leaves. Now, a word about bay leaves. Bay leaves are a flavor enhancer and contributor, but they're not part of the edible part here. So we're going to add these in, leaving them whole, and let them boil in the stock. And then before we go ahead to serve it, we're going to go ahead and pick these back out again. So we need to keep track. We're adding, should be about 6 of them we're going to go ahead and put into the stock here. So we'll make those additions now. Okay, so we got those in, and we're going to go ahead now and we're going to add just a little bit of Cajun seasoning. Now you can use a commercially available one like Zatarain's or Emerald's Essence. This one is one that we put together here that we use for boiling shrimp or some of our Cajun flavored dishes. So we're going to go ahead and add that now. It's about a half a cup or so of Cajun seasoning we're going to add in. Stir that into the mix. And there's a little bit of heat in that, but as Emerald likes to say, we're going to kick things up a little bit, and we're going to put just a couple pinches of cayenne pepper in as well. So, add that in. We'll stir that in as well. And now we'll wait for that to come up to full thickness, and we'll add our meat. All right, we're going to add our sausages here. We have 2 pounds of andouille sausage sliced. We're going to add that in. And then 3 pounds of our jalapeno cheddar bratwurst from here at Two Hats. All right, so we're going to let that cook a while and get the flavors from those sausages really incorporated in. And then the last addition that we'll put in will be our shrimp about a half an hour before we go to serve. So this has been simmering for a little while. Everything is fully cooked that's in it already. You can see our sausages are nice and browned, and those flavors have incorporated into the stock. And so we're going to make our last addition now, which is the shrimp. You want to add those last because they'll cook really quick in the sauce. These are frozen shrimp. It's a 5160 size shrimp. They're just a little like a cocktail shrimp. These are peeled and deveined, which means that the outer shell is off and the vein has been pulled out, and they've also taken the tail off so you don't get the crunchy tail. So we're just going to go ahead and add these in, and be careful that they don't splash at this point, and we'll stir those in, and then we'll let those cook for a little while, and then we'll give it a taste and adjust our salt and pepper if we need to at that point. All right, so there's 2 different ways that we can do this. One would be once everything is in, to go ahead and cover it, which is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take one of our large sheet pans here and cover the whole thing over. And what we want to do is prevent it from cooking down too much, because you don't want to end up with just a sludge left in there. So we're going to have this on top of it to keep all those flavors contained. Or you can fortify it with a little bit of extra venison stock, and just to keep the consistency where you want it to be. All right, our jambalaya is now finished. Our shrimp is nicely cooked and everything is looking good. So we're going to go through this and try and fish out our leaves now and see if we can find them here and pull them out. There's one. A word about rice. I like to use cooking bags and do it in the oven. You can actually use a crock pot with a crock pot liner and get perfect rice as well. This is just plain white rice with a little bit of butter and salt and pepper in it. And we put it in the oven at 350 for about 40 minutes. And it comes out nice and fluffy and moist. And the nice thing is, by doing it in the oven, you don't have to worry about it messing up your stovetop by boiling over. So what we're going to do when we plate this is I'm going to take a scoop and just put it right in the middle of the bowl, like that. And then we'll take a ladle of our jambalaya and pour over it. Like that. There is our Two Hats venison jambalaya.
It smells great. I've been waiting to try it the whole time we've been cooking it.
Yep.
Let's dig in.
All right.
Taste. Get some of that sausage on
Yep.
there,
Get the
some of that
sausage, a
shrimp.
little bit of rice, maybe a shrimp.
Cheers, buddy.
Bon appetit. Mm-hmm. We're there.
Dude, that is so good. Got to finish chewing.
Yeah.
Guys, if you like that recipe, please click that subscribe button. Leave a like on the video. Leave a comment. Tell us how we did. We'll see you next time.
Take care.